सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Sai Ram. Just to recollect where we were last week, as you know, we are studying the Narada Bhakti Sutras, and we are in the what's called third chapter. And we're in the third chapter. We have been studying about the sadhana, different types of means of devotion. Last week we had taken a look at 3 sutras on that topic. We will continue from where we left off. So we had looked at it last week also. Tritiyodhyaya, that is the third chapter. Bhakti sadhanani, the means or instruments of devotion. This 37th sutra in the Narada Bhakti Sutras, and this falls under the third chapter as categorized by some commentators. Lokepi Bhagavad Guna Shravana Kirtanat. Lokepi Bhagavad Guna Shravana Kirtanat. Lokepi Bhagavad Guna Shravana Kirtanat. In this sutra also, pronunciation wise, there's only one letter, which is Bha, which is aspirated. The rest of the letters are unaspirated consonants, so it should be simpler to pronounce without any difficulty. We'll look at the Sandhi split. The first one is Lokepi. As you can see, there's an avagraha. This S shape letter is called avagraha, which means this. There's an A which is silent. Okay. But when the word is split, it's a loke api. When it's combined, it becomes lokepi. Okay, loke api. The next word is comprised of 4 distinct words, but it's a samasa. But there's some the internal sandhi related changes, so we'll look at it. The first word is bhagavat. Okay, bhagavat. That it changes to id because of sandhi. So it becomes bhagavad. Okay. Next word is guna, shravana, kirtanat. No real changes other than the it due to sandhi in this samasa. So bhagavat, guna, shravana, kirtana. We will look at the meaning of the words. Loke. Loke is the 7th noun form of the word lokaha. Lokaha means world. Loke means in the world. 7th vibhakti gives meanings like in, on, about, at, things like that. So loke, in the world. So that is in the worldly sense. The previous chapter we looked at Parabhakti, the bhakti of the supreme nature, which is of higher nature. But in this world, so a devotee in this world, Okay, in the worldly sense, in the world. Api, even. So even means also, that means the devotion continues even in the world. When the person is busy in this world also, it continues. So also in the world. Bhagavat Guna Shravana Kirtana. Bhagavat means of the Lord or all divine. Both ways you can say of the Lord or the divine. Guna means characteristics or attributes. Okay, the attributes of the Lord. Bhagavad Guna or divine qualities. Shravana. Shravana is to hear. Shravana. Kirtana. To sing, praise, speak about it. Kirtanat. Kirtanat is Kirtana is the first noun form or the simple noun form. Kirtanat means from, a fifth noun form. So from the listening and singing of the qualities or attributes of the Lord. So what it basically means is, in the worldly act, when the person is involved in the world, the activities will be such that the person will listen and sing of the glories of the Lord. Because we are all busy in this world as well. So, but a real devotee will be busy only thinking and hearing, listening and speaking about the Lord. So that's also that's a quality of the devotee. That's a quality of the bhakti. Because we are all busy talking about this or that in this world, about this person or that person. But the devotee will only be interested in talking or listening about the Lord. And you also may know that in the 9 forms of devotion, Shravana is the first one. Shravana, Vishnu Smarana, okay, Shravanam, Kirtanam. So these are the first 2 parts of the 9 forms of devotion. So one could say that in Sanskrit, Shravana Kirtana means, if the first 2 are mentioned at art, means it actually involves all that class of activities. All the classes of activities which start from Shravana and Kirtana. So one could even say that in the world, the person will be involved in all the forms of devotion, starting from Shravana, Kirtana and so on. So you can say Shravana, Kirtana, Vishnu Smarana, Padasevana, Vandana, Archanam, Dhasyam, okay, Sneham, Atma Nivedanam. Those are the 9 forms of devotion. So it can relate to that also. So those are the activities a devotee will be engaged in the world, in the worldly sense. So that's the meaning of this sutra. We will read a discourse of Swami, excerpt from a discourse. The magnificent mansion that was created by the sages of the past for the peaceful and prosperous existence of their succeeding generations. The mansion called Sanatana Dharma has crumbled through the wanton neglect of the sons and daughters of Bharata Mata. Now, peace and joy are to be found only among these little children. The elders have lost the art, the discipline of regarding them and retaining them. These children are fresh, charming saplings who can be made by care and love to blossom into ideal citizens of this land, able to understand and practice the great disciplines laid down by the sages for their liberation through self-realization. The mother and father must bear a major share of responsibility for the proper upbringing of children. The earliest years of life are the most crucial. The skills, the attitudes, the emotions, the impulses that make or mar the future are built into the foundation of life in those years. The parents can help or hinder the making of that foundation strong and straight. But the parents have no equipment now for this basic role. They have no faith in their own ancient culture. They themselves have no mental peace, no sadhana, no spiritual discipline which the children can imbibe from them. Children must grow up in homes where their parents honor their parents in their turn and are happy only when they serve their elders. Then only will children revere their parents. This must be taught to them by example rather than by precept. Schooling is a waste if children do not learn lasting virtues, do not develop strength of character as a result of the process. They must learn reverence for parents, teachers, and elders. Now they learn a number of copybook maxims, but they do not put a single one into practice in daily life. For practice is present nowhere. Even as children, they must learn the glory of God, who is the inner reality. They must understand that they are not the body, but they are the one Dehi, indweller, who is the Dehi in all. Through bhajan, singing devotional songs, and through Shravana, listening to the tales of glory, God's glory, these elevating truths can be handed over to them by teachers and parents who are themselves aware of these and practicing them daily life. Learn your learn your own news before getting excited about the news of others. Learn the A, B, C, and D of your own alphabet, and then you will be better able to guide others in their learning and life. Do not ridicule the children when they go to a temple or a sage and show interest in bhajan or worship or dhyana. Many elders believe that there is time enough for such pastimes after one has lived for 60 years. People who spread this nefarious doctrine are ruining the lives of their dear ones, for they do not condemn the wrong and encourage the right. There are others who, by their behavior and habits at home, in full view of the children, inculcate the habit of uttering lies, gambling, drinking, etc. Plant in those tender hearts the seeds of love, sympathy, truth, justice, charity, compassion, repentance, and self-control. That is the prime duty of all who deal with children. When the father asks the child to tell someone at the door that he is not at home, or when he asks its brother to reply to a phone call that he has gone out, the vice of dishonesty is implanted in the child. Do not burden the tender brains with all kinds of lumber, information that can never be put to use, facts that warp and twist truth. Teach them only as much as they can use beneficially and as much as can be of direct help to them in their lives. Train character more than brains. The parents first and foremost, the teachers next, the comrades, playmates, and companions next, and the various levels of society later. These shape the character of the children and the destiny of the country. You must revere the teacher so that the child may revere him. The teacher too must become worthy of reverence and aware of his high role. This school, bearing this name as an unequal responsibility in this regard, Sri Sathya Sai Convent School. So this was a discourse which Swami gave at a school called Sri Sathya Sai Convent School, established in Rajamandri in Andhra Pradesh in the year 1969. I picked this one because there are so many places Swami has spoken about the 9 forms of devotion. But this was slightly different, so I thought it may be a nice one for everyone to listen and read. Swami has given how a devotee should live in this world, how the devotee should also set examples, and how when devotion should be cultivated at such a young age, and how children have to be corrected and set right examples. So it's very nice because the devotees become devotees at a very young age. The younger they are, the better, and those are the activities in which they will be engaged. And it also shows what the Sathya Sai school should do also. So I will stop there. I will read another excerpt. Embodiments of love. Only when we realize the preciousness of the diamond will we take care to safeguard it. Likewise, only when we are aware of the value of chanting the Lord's name will we make the effort to practice it and benefit from it. Devotees recite or sing the names of the Lord in 2 ways. One is Kirtanam, the other is Sankirtanam. Kirtanam is done individually and benefits only the devotees concerned. Sankirtanam is done collectively for the good of the world as a whole. Kirtanam is of various kinds. First is Guna Kirtana, praising the qualities and attributes of God through song. Second is Bhava Sankirtana, expressing the inner feelings and emotions of the devotee. Reflecting the feelings of peace, companionship, yearning, filial love, or sweetness experienced by the devotee, these songs give vent to the emotional outpouring of the devotee. The third is Leela Sankirtanam, praising in song the sports and divine play of the Lord. This is done through singing the Ashtapadi of Jayadeva or describing the sports and miraculous deeds of the Lord. The Rasa Krida is also in this category. The fourth is Nama Sankirtanam, singing the names of the Lord. This is the most efficacious of all forms of devotional singing. But in actual practice, the devotees derive joy from singing all types of devotional songs. Special significance of Nama Sankirtana. What is the special significance of Nama Sankirtana? Singing the names of the Lord. Nama is made up of 3 letters. Na, A, Ma. All music is based on the several swaras, the 7 notes. According to the science of numerology, the letters Na, A, and Ma have the numerical values of 0, 2, and 5. Thus, making up 7 in all. The 7 notes are Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni. The Gopikas made use of these 7 notes to combine music, rhythm, and devotion in the Rasa Krida, dance with Krishna. In this group dance, the Gopikas were so completely lost in devotion and song that they experienced oneness with the divine. In this way, Sankirtana, community singing in praise of Krishna, became popular and helped to develop devotion and promote collective prayers for the welfare of the world. Similarly, community singing in the name of Rama also came into vogue. Numerologically, the letters in the name of Rama, Ra, A, Ma, add up to 7. Besides the 7 notes, the mystic number 7 is associated with many sacred things like 7 islands, the 7 oceans, the 7 sages, and so on. In accordance with this concept, 7-day festivals and yajnas are held. Not all realize the potency and efficacy of reciting the Lord's name. The first requisite is purity of thought, word, and deed. The name that is uttered by the tongue should be meditated upon by the mind. What is uttered and dwelt upon should be hailed by clapping the hands. This threefold concentration on the divine name, unity of mind, speech, and action, purifies the heart and nourishes the feeling of devotion. Better than recounting the qualities of the Lord, singing his glories or relating his exploits and teachings, the chanting of the name is supremely edifying. If merely the Lord is described as Dayamaya, embodiment of kindness, there may be many who qualify for that description. If the term Leela Manusha Vigrahudu, one who has assumed the human form as a sport, is used, it may apply to any number of persons. Guru Nanak was the initiator of the practice of community singing of devotional songs. He believed that through such community singing, the common man can ennoble his life and experience the presence of the divine in everyone. Through that experience, one can become a knower of the Brahman. Ratnakara, who led the life of a highwayman, became the sage Valmiki after prolonged meditation on the name of Rama. He got the illumination out of which the Ramayana was born. Moses was another great figure of all times who achieved God realization by continuously dwelling on the name of God. So this was a discourse Swami gave in 1986. From this you can see the Guna Sankirtana, Shravana and Kirtana of Guna also extends to Bhava, Leela and Nama. So I thought that will be nice to recollect what activities we should engage in. We'll go to the next sutra. Mukyatastu Mahat Kripayaiva Bhagavat Kripaleshad Va. Mukyatastu Mahat Kripayaiva Bhagavat Kripaleshad. Mukyatastu Mahat Kripayaiva Bhagavat Kripaleshad Va. In this sutra, again, the only one letter which is aspirated consonant is Bha. Bha, which is the fourth letter in the per class of consonants. It has to be aspirated. Bhagavat. Okay. Oh, sorry, another one I forgot. The second letter, Mukhya. Ka is the second letter in the Ka Varga, so it has to also be aspirated. So it's Mukhyatastu. Okay, Mukh. So there are two letters. Let's look at the Sandhi split. Mukhyataha tu. These two form the first word Mukhyatastu. Mukhyataha and tu. The Visarga becomes is because of Sandhi. So that's how you get Mukhyatastu. Okay. In the next word, there is a Sandhi. Not real Sandhi. In a Sandhi, it's a Samasa. And there's the word Eva. So, Mahat Kripaya Eva. Mahat Kripaya, though it's Mahat and Kripa are two distinct words, there's no Sandhi related change. But Kripaya Eva becomes Kripayaiva. A plus A becomes I. So that's how we get Kripayaiva. Okay, so it's become Mahat Kripaya Eva. When split, it is Mahat Kripaya Eva. The last word is also samasa, but there are individual distinct words within that word. Bhagavat, Kripa, and Leshat. Leshat, this ending is again fifth vibhakti from Bhagavat Kripa Leshat. Kripa Lesha. Okay. The last va is or and also. Okay. We look at the meaning of the words. Here, the it, okay, another point which changed is Leshat. The it has become it because of Sandhi. Okay. They change into the, just the same way we saw in the previous uh, sutra where Bhagavat has become Bhagavad. Okay. This first consonant, in any varga, in ta, ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, the ka or cha or ta or ta can become the third consonant in certain sandhi formations. So because ka becomes ga, cha becomes ja, ta becomes the, and so on. Ta becomes da. So this is a very common change in the consonant due to sandhi. So that's the that's the rule, sandhi rule, which is applied here. Now let's look at the word-to-word meaning of the words. Mukhyataha. Mukhyataha means something which is important, importantly, primarily, or chiefly in all this means. Mukhya means important. Mukhyataha means from that importance. That's the actual translation. Mukhyataha means from that importance. When the word taha is, so the suffix taha is added, from, that something which comes from something is indicated. So mukhyataha, from importance. Okay, from the importance it has. Okay, you can say. Tu is indeed. What is the important thing? What are the important things in devotion? Mahat kripaya. Mahat here is great ones. Great. Mahat means great. So Mahan also, people say Mahan. So that means people who are of noble nature. Mahans. Kripaya. Kripaya. Kripa is compassion or compassion, you can say. Kripaya is third noun form. That means from the compassion, say due to, I should put due to the compassion of great ones. Okay. Due to the compassion, or through that also you can say. Through the compassion of great ones. There are multiple meanings you can put. Due to, or with, or through. Okay, so all these meanings are possible. 1 second, let me. Sorry. So with the grace, with or through the grace of great ones. Mahat Kripaya, Eva, only. Through that only. Bhagavat Kripa Leshat. Okay. Bhagavat is God. We have looked at the divine. Kripa. So there are two Kripas involved. One is the compassion of the great people. The second one is the compassion of the God. Compassion of God. Leshat. Leshat is again a fifth noun form of the word Lesha. Leshat is from. Okay, from a Lesha means in Tamil we will use, Tamil also people use Lesa. Lesa means very little. From a very little grace of the Lord. Through the grace of compassion of great ones also. So what it basically means is that is also an activity from which a devotee will benefit, the devotee will be engaged in. So they will try to earn the grace of great ones, of great devotees of the Lord. Through that, they will attain devotion. But even for that, there should be grace of the Lord. A little grace of the Lord will grant everyone the company of great ones. And Swami always gives the example of how Ratnakara we earlier read. He benefited from the uh, uh, influence of rishis, and he started chanting Ramanama, and he became a Valmiki rishi. Um, Prahlada, who was born in a family of Rakshasas, demons, because his mother had the company of uh, Narada, sage Narada, and listening to the stories of the Lord in the womb, he became a great devotee. So even in the womb, the child is doing Shravanam of the guna of the Bhagavat. But that comes only in the company of the godly or great ones, where one is able to listen to the gunas, leelas of the Lord. So, but to get that, you need to have the little grace of from God. So this sort of shows the importance of company of the godly, the noble, and so on. Sairam Sakwanti, please go ahead. You have to unmute and speak, Auntie.
Sai Ram, why it is said little grace of the mighty God?
Even a drop of grace of the Lord is very powerful. And if you don't have to get too much grace from the Lord, I think that's my understanding. See, even that's why Swami says, take one step. That's enough. If you don't take even that little one step, the God's grace will not come. And God, even if He throws a little bit of grace on our end, that's everything, more than this entire world. And just to show the grandness, greatness of the Lord, the word Lesha is given. It also can mean easily also. If you do anything, the Lesanaka means it's very easy to do something. So it's also earned very easily. So that's good enough. We don't need too
And,
much. Certain things, very little is more than enough. That's my understanding. Okay, we will read it excerpts of Swami Sai. Before death takes its toll, one must realize in this body itself the eternal truth and relationship between the person and that truth. The Kathopanishad exhorts Uttishtata Jagrata Prapyavaran Nibodhita. Arise awake. Those who are agitated by doubts about what to accept and what to reject, those who are blinded by illusion, and those who cannot distinguish between darkness and light, death and immortality, all these should approach great people who can show the path to understand the eternal truth, the self-illumined basis of all creation. Then both this world and heaven will be merged in the same effulgence. For the sake of this realization, one should have deep yearning and hard, disciplined practice. This human birth is the consequence of the countless good deeds, and it should not be cast aside. The chance must be fully exploited. I will pause here just to go through the Sanskrit word. It's from Kathopanishad. Uttishtata means get up, arise, wake up, arise, stand up, all that it means. Jagrata means open your eyes. Okay, wake up and get up and open your eyes. Or be aware, be vigilant. Prapya means having obtained. Prapa means it comes from the word obtaining, gaining. Having obtained. Varan. Varan means great people. Nibhodita, learn. So this is the lesson in Kathopanishad where sadhaka is asked to get up and try to find great people and learn from them, which Swami is explaining below. And because what happens is then only the yearning, hard, disciplined practice is needed, because that is learned from the great ones, is what Swami is trying to say. We will continue to read. As the Kenopanishad says, this present precious life should not be thrown away. Nachat iha avadi mahati vinashti. Vinashti means don't lose away. Don't lose it. Okay, mahati vinashti. It will be a great loss. Swami in many places he talks about mahat vinashti. It's a big loss. In the first this I speak the last discourse, he's saying it's a double. You lose doubly if you lose this opportunity of coming to know me, if you don't benefit. Because what happens is sometimes we don't develop the yearning, the suffering of not knowing the Lord, not having seen the Lord. So we are very busy going everywhere. That yearning is very, very important. In the Gita Vahini, Swami says you have to do tapinchu, Swami says. That means you should burn and suffer when you are separate from God. That should be the intensity of a devotee. Otherwise, the time is lost, opportunity is lost. As one said. We'll continue. For all those who are really animals in human form, slaves of pride and animal traits, this awareness in time is most important. Delay is fruitless. It is as silly as starting to dig a well when the house catches fire. Therefore, the discriminating individual will endeavor by all means at their disposal to understand the underlying principles, to master the teachings of the great people who practice the spiritual path, and to bring all this as much as possible into the ken of their own experience. This is an excerpt from Prema Vahini. We will do another small excerpt. In this world, there is no penance, tapas higher than fortitude, no happiness greater than contentment, no good deed holier than mercy, no weapon more effective than patience. Devotees should consider the body as a field and good deeds as seeds and cultivate the name of the Lord. With the help of the heart as the farmer, in order to get the harvest, the Lord Himself. How can one get the crop without cultivation? Like cream in the milk and fire in the fuel, the Lord is in everything. Have full faith in this, as the milk, so the cream, as the fuel, so the fire. So also the spiritual discipline, so the direct experience, sakshatara of the Lord, right? Even if the attainment of liberation, mukti, isn't directly realized as a consequence of taking up the Lord's name, four fruits are clearly evident to those who have had the experience. Company of the great, truth, contentment, and control of the senses. Through whichever of these gates one enters, whether one is a householder, recluse, or a member of any other class, one can reach the Lord without fail. This is certain. So this is from Prema Vahini. As you can see, Swami says there are 4 things a devotee will gain. One is the company of the great. The second one is truth. Third is contentment, santosh, and control of the senses, indriya nigraha. So they are all means of progress in the path of devotion. Okay, so we will go to the next sutra. Mahat sangastu durlabho gamyo mogascha. Mahat sangastu durlabho gamyo mogascha. Mahat sangastu durlabho gamyo amoghascha. In this sutra, there are a couple of letters we can pay attention to. Mahat sangastu, there is no aspirated consonants. Durlabho, the bho is again an aspirated consonant, 4th letter in the per class of consonants. Agamyo amogha. This gha is the 4th letter in the ka varga of class, ka class of consonants. So it has to be aspirated. Mogha. We'll look at the sandhi split. Sangha, Mahat Sangastu is made of 2 words, Mahat Sangaha and Tu. The Mahat Sangaha also has 2 words, which is Mahat and Sangha. I did not separate it, but I think because we have used it in the past sutra, it should be easy. Mahat Sangaha, internal, you can say 2 distinct words, it's a samasa. Tu is separate as article. In the next one, there are multiple words. There are 4 distinct words. We'll look at them. Durlabaha, that visarga becomes O and the A becomes silent. So that's how you get an avagraha, the S-shaped character, which indicates A becomes silent and the visarga has become O. Durlabho gamyaha. Okay. Durlabaha agamyaha. This visarga here also undergoes the same change. It becomes O and the A becomes silent. Agamyo mogha. Agamyaha. Amogha. Okay. This visarga at the end of gaha, the visarga becomes ish, changes into ish because the cha follows it. So it becomes amoghascha. But when split, it's durlabaha, agamyaha, amogha cha. Okay, so we will look at the meaning of the words. Mahat sangaha. Mahat, as I said, great ones. Vara, in the previous Kathopanishad statement. Sangaha is company, the company of the great ones. Okay. What is this company? Because already the great company of the great ones are mentioned. Through God's grace, you get the company of the great ones. But what is this great company of the great ones? It is indeed durlabha, difficult to attain. One may never attain the company of good ones. It is very rare and difficult to attain. Next word, agamya, unreachable. It's not easily accessible for people. Okay, it's not easily accessible. So it's unreachable. Amogha. Mogha means barren. It's not fertile. If a land is not fertile, it's mogha. Amogha means it's not fertile. It is not fertile. That means it is fruitful. Infertile. It's not infertile. Mogha is infertile. Amogha is not infertile. That means it's not barren. It's fruitful. Cha and. So this Mahat Sangaha, which is difficult, what is this? It's difficult to attain. It is not easily reachable. It cannot be reached, but it is very fruitful. It is fruitful. You will definitely get a good harvest. The company of the good. This is why in Shankaracharya and Bhajagovindam says Satsangatve, Nisangatvam, Nisangatve, Nirbhotvam. The company of the good is essential. We look at some excerpt of Swami. I think I put one full discourse, so let's read. Kasturi now spoke to you about the Puranic story of churning of the ocean to gain the nectar of immortality. He said that when the demigods were overcome by conceit, delusion, and ignorance, the sages cursed them with age, grayness, and senility, and they became easy victims for the demons. So, to restore to them the lost splendor, the Lord suggested churning the ocean and winning of the nectar of immortality. You have to take this story in its symbolic sense. The mythological stories always deal in parables. Each tale has a deeper meaning, something that is more valuable and useful than what appears on the surface. This meaning is to be practiced in daily life. They are not stories told to while away the time. Indra insulted Durvasa because he was blinded by the power of office, and the curse of the sage forced him to rethink about his reality to discover the innate status. Then he found that he was nectar of the same nature as the supreme reality itself. In fact, he came to know that he was the supreme Brahman, but moving about in the delusion that he was Indra. The churning is a symbol of the spiritual exercises needed to remove the veil of delusion. More specifically, the royal path of integral spirituality. When the power of divinity declines, the evil impulses predominate. Even the demigods fall. They lose their special privileges and rights. Once falsehood enters into the character, you lose contact with nectar. He dies many deaths. He who is false, afraid of truth, blind to his own glorious heritage of immortality. Truth, Satya, is that which is eternal. Falsehood is poison. Truth is nectar. Truth alone confers splendor or divinity. So when the demigods fell prey to pride and attachment to unreality, they had to churn their thoughts and impulses, their feelings and emotions, their instincts and inspirations, and bring out the cream of truth. The two groups who pull the churning rope are the forward-leading influences and backward-pulling influences, the divine and demonic urges. As I said, Indra insulted Durvasa and invited upon himself the anger of that sage because of the ignorance of his fundamental reality, his ignorance, which plunged him in pride. What should be done to restore him to sanctity and is to reteach him the Atmic universal spiritual basis of all pomp and pageantry of office, the evanescence that's immanent in all created things. Today, though in outward appearance people are human, in inner impulse they are subhuman or demonic. People who have no charity or sacrifice in them are called demons. Demigod and demon are mixed in the human makeup. And now the demon rules the roost. Therefore, man has lost his glory and his power and his splendor. He must win them again by spiritual discipline. So, make yourself pure by incessant striving. The partaking of the nectar that I create is only the first step in the process for you. It does not mean much if you do not take the second step and the third and march on towards self-realization. You must have faith in the discipline laid down in Sanatana Dharma, eternal religion, and in the ultimate divine basis of all creation. Get convinced that the world can give you only fleeting joy, and that grief is but the obverse of joy. Strive now from this very moment, for time is rushing like a swift torrent. Develop the joy that will not decline, the joy that will ever be full. Be true to yourself, be bold, be sincere. The only reality is the twin bird on the tree, individual soul which tastes the fruits and suffers, and the supreme soul which sits unmoved and merely looks on. Mention was made now of the form of fascinating woman and the way in which the demons were misled by enticing charm of the outward form. Now all this talk of consorts of the Lord, of Lakshmi, Saraswati and Parvati being the wives of the Trinity are absolutely silly. They reveal only the worldly living glasses that you wear, the projection of your worldly fancies on the heavenly families, the weaving of stories on the human model for the satisfaction of human cravings. These names are only convenient expressions for the divine power that is immanent in Godhead. For example, Lakshmi is the personification of the grace of Vishnu. That is why she is said to dwell on his breast. So too Parvati is half the body of Shiva, inseparably incorporated in him. The powers of creation, conservation and dissolution are coexistent and continuous in Godhead. You may ask how the three can coexist. Well, look at the electricity. The current can create, conserve as well as dissolve, all at the same time and to the same extent. These divine energies are similarly pictured as inseparably associated with the three aspects of the Absolute. Man's duty is to achieve unity with the Shiva power, Shiva Shakti, for he is but a spark that has emanated from it. He is but a flame of the eternal fire. Enter upon the task of spiritual discipline from now on. That is the lesson you must learn here. Otherwise, a pilgrimage leads only to the accumulation of vessels. You buy vessels from wherever you go, from Rameshwaram, Tirupati, Kashi, Haridwar, Mathura, and Kumbhakonam. That is the merit you get from a pilgrimage, a room full of vessels. You come from long distances, incur heavy expenses, suffer in the cold in the open, or lie in the shade of trees and wait for days, expecting the longed for interview with me. But in the end, you return and dissipate the peace and happiness you derive from this place. Devotion is something sweet, soothing, refreshing, and restoring. It must confer patience and fortitude. The devotee will not be perturbed if another gets an interview first or if another is given greater consideration. He is humble and bides his time. He knows that there is a higher power that knows more and that it is just and impartial. In the light of that knowledge, the devotee will communicate his troubles and problems only to his Lord. He will not humiliate himself by talking about them to all and sundry. For what can a man who is as helpless as himself do? do to relieve him? It is only those who have that implicit faith in God, who will deign to communicate only with the Lord and none else, who deserve the nectar of immortality. The gross body should be ever immersed in holy company. The subtle body, that is, thoughts and feelings, should be ever immersed in the contemplation of the glory of the Lord. That is the sign of a devotee. One who shouts and swears and advertises one's worries to everyone and craves for sympathy, such a one can never be a devotee. Such men are miscalled devotees. They make earnest men lose faith in godly ways. Earnest men feel that they are superior to these pseudo devotees. And this is a fact. It's a great responsibility to tread the Godward path. There's no sliding back, no halfway stop, no tardy place, no side lane on such a pilgrimage. It is always up and up, right to the crest of the mountain. Though your responsibility is greater, take it from me. You are luckier than others. Do not deny with the tongue what you have relished in the heart. Do not bear false witness to your own felt experience. Do not carp and talk cynically of the very thing you have revered and adored when the company into which you fall start such raillery. It is said that the devotee can get the Lord everywhere easily, but the Lord cannot get a devotee so easily. Yes, it is difficult to secure a devotee who has that unshaken faith, that attitude of complete self-surrender. Such an attitude can come only by remembering God's name. Constant, sincere, and continuous as the act of breathing, and felt to be as essential for life. That's the silent recital of the Lord's name, penance, and meditation for you all. Remembrance of God's name like this will immerse you ever in nectar, not just a drop on your tongue. Do you know how much I feel when I find that in spite of my arrival and teaching and spiritual instruction, you have not yet started this spiritual discipline? You simply praise me and strew compliments that I am the treasure house of grace, the ocean of Ananda, etc. Take up the name and dwell upon its sweetness, imbibe it and roll it on your tongue, taste its essence, contemplate on its magnificence, and make it a part of yourself and grow strong in spiritual joy. That is what pleases me. Do not wait until you are past middle age to practice this spiritual exercise. I know some parents who drag away their sons who come to me when still young. They tell them that they can take up religious practices in their old age. These parents do not know what the extent of loss. By some stroke of good luck, their children get the chance of knowing about the right path for peace and contentment, but the parents are angry that the sons do not find pleasure in the article that gave them pleasure. They feel there must be something wrong in the makeup of their sons. They tempt them to drink, to gamble, to exploit, to hate, to imitate them, in short, and take them along with them to perdition. But a straight plant means a straight tree. A bent plant can never grow into a straight tree. Rotten, overripe, worm-eaten fruits are not fit to be offered to God. Years of sin would have warped the character of a person beyond repair. So the spiritual discipline has to be followed from a tender age. Faith can grow only by long cultivation and careful attention. The old are haunted by the demon of doubt. I know there are many here who are afflicted by doubt. They think that I have hidden a vessel of the nectar in a spot in the sands previously fixed and known to me only. That is why I now ask some from among those people themselves to decide where we sit on these sands. Kasturi suggested this morning that since the thousands who have come to see the materialization of nectar cannot get a close view on this flat riverbed, a mound of sand be raised where I can sit. I did not agree because I knew these doubters would immediately infer that the nectar was hidden previously under the mound that was heaped up on purpose. This doubt is truly a component of the demonic nature, for it eats into the vitals of devotion. It clips the wings of joy, it dampens enthusiasm, it tarnishes hope. Such a person cannot attain the goal even at the end of 1,000 births. When doubts assail you, welcome the chance to see and experience and clear the doubt. But do not later deny the very truth of which you were once convinced and listen again to the voice of hate or foolishness. Do not put faith in the words of men into whose hands you will not entrust your purse. As a matter of fact, it is the words of such men that are now leading many astray. Really, this is a pitiable state of things, is it not? Come to me, eager to learn, to progress, to see yourself in me, and I shall certainly welcome you and show you the way. You will indeed be blessed. All scriptures, all texts, the Gita, which is the milk of all the Upanishad cows, are intended to instill this thirst into you. The thirst has to be like that of a creeper for the tree trunk, of the magnet for the iron, of the bee for the flower, of the waters for a fall, of the river for the sea. The pangs of separation must gnaw the heart. The entire being must yearn for the union. Do not vacillate or change or try a series of names and forms. That will only fritter away time and energy. Ceaseless contemplation of the Lord will give ceaseless taste of nectar to you. If you do not follow this path, you are doubly to blame, for you have contacted me. The form usually creates doubts, for when only the name is there, you can build around it for all your fancies, all that you want, to complete the picture. Do not be misled by such doubts when the form has come before you. Make the moment useful and life worthwhile. This discourse Swami gave in 1960, December. I think this is the first volume of Sathya Sai Speaks. This is the last chapter, I guess. So that's why I accepted this discourse. Now, Swami is talking about the struggles, what is durlabha, what is agamya, unreachable. The effort required is immense significance. That's why Swami is telling you have to have that, you should suffer the pangs of separation. You need the urge, the pain of not being closer to the Lord. Without that, actually, we are busy wandering around everywhere. Swami is equating that to the Amrita distribution by Mohini. And the demons are always involved in the external attractions. Amrita is what is inside. Anyone who is godly is after the essence which is inside. Amrita, inner beauty, the inner joy. So the path of finding great ones is very difficult. But we have to start working from a younger age as much as possible, because the length of distance to travel is very long and hard. I'll stop here. If there are any questions, we can discuss. Otherwise, I think it should be straightforward, rather. We can meet next week. With those words, we'll close the session with Samasta Loka prayer. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.